Hi there. Welcome to my channel, Trendfire. Welcome if this is your first time here, but also welcome if you are here for the new video. Today I'm giving an update on my UA deck list, and as you can see already, it's a hybrid of both UA and Dogmatika. So first off, I will show you the deck list, and after that I will give a few explanations, and after that I will go into some test hands and duel videos. So first off, I'm playing triple Libero Spiker, which is better than the one UA midfielder, but you still need the one UA midfielder to make your first turn setups and also helps with the OTKs. I'm playing triple Perfect Ace. I'm gearing this deck towards going for a strong first turn setup, and this card helps a lot with it. I always want to see this card in my first turn board and opening hand. A single copy of Rebounder, which is necessary to make some recovery plays and also extend your ceiling a little bit when it's your opponent's turn. The one UA playing manager, I see that a lot of people are running this at 3, even though the correct number is 2, because it's a hard once per turn. It can usually brick your hand a little bit. So yes, the correct number for a pure deck list, in my opinion, is 2. However, this is a Dogmatika UA list, and it doesn't really help you set up your optimal turn 1 board, which is done by these 3 cards. And this is only usable when you have a crazy hand or when you're going second. So this feels fine at 1. And the same goes for Dunker, which is only necessary when you go on the offensive. So as you can see with my UA lineup, I've geared it towards going first entirely. For the Dogmatikas, I'm playing 2 Ecclesia, no Fleur-de-Lis because you don't need the Fleur-de-Lis negate on the field. You just need these 2 to get to your Dogmatika punishments, and that's enough. The Ecclesia is getting in the way of consistent hands, and the Fleur-de-Lis is getting in the way of consistent hands, and the Ecclesia is just a good consistency piece. And in my test hands, I will show you how we can get off both UA Stadium searches and the Ecclesia search in this same turn. 3 Ash Blossoms because it's the most consistent and generic hand trap, and 3 Pot of Prosperity. In regular UA builds, I always run Pot of Extravagance because it allows you to have more discard fodder. However, for this particular hybrid build, you want to get to both Dogmatika pieces and UA pieces. So there's a specific type of combos you need, and the Pot of Prosperity helps a lot with getting to those specific combo pieces. Also, it's really good in games 2 and 3, where you can just dig for your side deck cards like Super Polymerization or something like Summon Limit. So yeah, it's great in matches. Playing the 1 reinforcement of the army, it's okay. It's definitely not great. You could choose to run a second midfielder instead of this, but I don't know, or maybe even a hand trap, but that just depends on how much consistency you are willing to sacrifice. The 1 Called by the Grave is mandatory because you really want to resolve your Stadium searches and your Ecclesia search and your Nadirs. So yeah, it's really good. 3 Nadirs because it's busted. 3 Foolish Burial Goods to search any of your UA spells. Then the regular Stadium lineup with 3 regulars and 3 hypers, and 3 signing deals. In some UA builds, I can understand that you would run 2 for the same argument as the playing manager, for the fact that it's hard once per turn. However, you need to reserve one of your normal summons for the Ecclesia, so this really helps you get out your UA monsters onto the field while still having a normal summon available for the Ecclesia. The 2 penalty boxes, and obviously the 2 Dogmatika punishments. So basically the entire reason for this hybrid is the fact that Dogmatika punishment is so broken for UAs. In my pure build, I was running 3 of these and even considering to play Trap Trick to get to it quicker because the ceiling of a first turn UA board isn't that impressive. It can be up to 2 negates and a pop, or usually a pop and a negate. But with the Dogmatika punishments, you can get so much more interruption, and it also diversifies the way you interrupt your opponent, because a regular UA board is just completely destroyed by something like a Dark Ruler no more. Whereas if you diversify your interruptions with things like Ash Blossom and Dogmatika Punishment, you are less easily countered by side deck cards. Also, the pop 2 is just insane, and you have virtually no drawback of the Dogmatika Punishment, where some decks that use the Dogmatika Punishment and the engine, like Invoked, really have to take in consideration if it's worth it to play the Dogmatika Punishment, because it'll lock them out of their place next turn. That's not the case in this particular deck. You don't care about the extra deck at all. Even though that's a bit of a slight exaggeration. I will get into the extra deck now. These are just obviously Dogmatika Punishment targets, or something to counter the opponent when they're playing Dogmatika Engine. These two can actually come up a bit in finishing up games, and also the Cowboy, as you will see in the replays, can fill its role actually. This is kind of situational. You could choose to run something like AA Zeus or another super polymerization target. I am running some super polymerization targets, but yeah, you can swap these out for anything else if you feel like it. But at the moment, I feel like it's fine like it is now. These are just some side deck cards that I'm considering at the moment, and some extra deck cards I'm still considering, or even the 3 tactic talents. But as it stands now, I'm actually really happy about the deck. So yeah, I'm going to show you some test hands and duels now. First up, some test hands, so you can see what a first turn hand looks like a bit. Alright, so we're just going to go off the fact that the opponent doesn't have any hand traps. If you want to play around that, you can do that a bit, but for the sake of speed, I'm just going to make my regular plays. So first off, I'm going to go for the small UAs, pay 1,000 life points to get to the UA Stadium. And I will do as much deck thinning before I go into the Pot of Prosperity, so I can make sure that I can get to the Dogmatika Engine. It's very crucial that you use your normal summon of the first UA monster on the UA Hyper Stadium search, so you still have your regular normal summon reserved for the Dogmatika Engine. So playing the Foolish Burial Goods, getting the penalty box out of the deck, and I'm going to do the search as well to get to a UA signing deal. So I've thinned my deck a little bit, and now I'm going to try to dig for the Dogmatika Engine by banishing 6 cards. Usually I'm just going to banish the super polymerization targets, but just keep your Dogmatika punishment targets in the deck and it'll all be fine. Okay, so I didn't get to my... Oh, sorry, I did. I did get to the Ecclesia. Usually I would go for the Ecclesia here, so I can search the punishment, but now I can go for the Dogmatika punishment instead and get my extra normal summon still on a UA monster, so that's pretty nice. Alright, I'm gonna return the Libero Spiker to summon the Perfect Ace, and I'm also gonna summon out the Player Manager. Okay, so at this point I've got 2 pops with punishment, I've got a negate, and this card can reshuffle that into the deck to get another Perfect Ace out on the field. So you're having 2 negates and 2 pops, which is actually quite decent for a deck like UA. Yep, so that's the first test hand. Let's do 2 more. Alright. Yeah. This is pretty much going to result into the same end board, but just with a little bit of a different route. So first off, I'm going to banish the penalty box to get to the Hyper Stadium. And as you can see now, basically the hand is entirely set up like it was in the previous one. I've got the Dogmatika Engine ready. I'm going to search for some UA monsters, perform a few normal summons, and probably end up with 2 UA interruptions and a Dogmatika punishment set. But maybe we'll be able to get something useful off of the Pot of Prosperity as well. So before that, obviously I'm going to do some deck thinning. get to the perfect ace. In my opinion, the most important UA monster. Right, so usually my best trinity of the UA monsters are libero, midfielder, and perfect ace. And anything more you can get to that, manager is your fourth target. And if you want to go for a fifth target, you want to have the UA rebounder in hand as well. But we're not going to do that now. I'm going to choose not to summon the player manager. Got to keep some cards in hand for perfect ace to negate with. Banish all the super polymerization targets and hope to get an Ash Blossom. Nice. Right, so you could choose to go for the Nadir Servant and get some more card advantage rolling, but I just prefer to have more interruptions. So at this point I have one perfect ace negation. This card can return the UA perfect ace to either summon a play manager for a pop or another negate, so it's 2 UA disruptions here, and also have the 2 pops from Dogmatika Punishment, and you have the Ash Blossom in hand. So that's 5 disruptions. Very strong. So the third hand. Yeah, it's actually kind of ridiculous. The amount of consistency this deck has is really high, because again you can see the end board is going to resolve exactly the same way as the previous 2 test hands I showed you. Yeah, I'm gonna go through the works here, but you probably already see that this is going to go the exact same way. It's gonna end up with two UA disruptions and 2 pops from Dogmatika Punishment, and in my opinion, that's, for a deck like this, that's pretty impressive. Just 3 test hands in a row, you end up with 4 interruptions. And you also have follow-up ready on the following turn. So something I like to do when I have the Dogmatika Punishment is I like to send the Titaniclad from my punishments, so in the end phase I will summon another Ecclesia and just get more card advantage rolling. Yeah. So, yeah, 3 test ends. If you want to test out the consistency of this deck more, you can put your deck list into your own simulator and try it out. But as you can see, the consistency is really high. So let's go to the duels now.
talking to myself, but it's like I was too weak to be someone else. You could think that I'm a creep when I'm singing all alone, but it's like I couldn't see straight on my own. When I fall, we start again, and when I feel like I'm just dead, and when I go, it comes again, and now I see it's in my head. Yeah, there's something that saves me all the time in my say. Yeah, it feels when I'm breaking down, like a whisper in my head, coming from out of nowhere, like a whisper in my head, when I've got something to share, like a whisper in my head, when I'm unable to speak, coming from somebody else. Now no, it is just stronger than myself. That's the way I have to live. Now they fall down every night. In the end, I'm not alone, and that's my life. When I fall, we start again. And when I feel like I'm just dead, and when I go, it comes again. And now I see it's in my head. Yeah, there's something that saves me all the time in my say. Yeah, it feels when I'm breaking down, like a whisper in my head, coming from out of nowhere, like a whisper in my head, when I got something to share. You think that I'm a freak when I'm talking to myself, but it's like I was too weak to be someone else. You could think that I'm a creep when I'm singing all alone, but it's like I couldn't see straight on my own.